Hey, good morning, friends. Today is Friday, December the 20th, 2024, and the time now is 7:54 a.m. So, friends, I want to talk briefly about Syria. So, by now, we are all aware of the situation in Syria. Syria has been experiencing civil war since 2012. And finally, within 10 days ago, or about a week ago or so, we saw a momentous event taking place in Syria. And I'm talking about the HTS, the terrorist slash militant slash armed group, okay, or rebel group, basically taking over Syria. And the president of Syria, Assad, was run out of Syria, or he was basically ousted, to the point where many observers and commentators of international relations or on international relations had been saying or making allegations or accusations that the government of Assad, the president of Syria, was toppled because the Russians and the Iranians basically decided to abandon Syria. Others had been saying that Assad being ousted from Syria could be a trap that Russia and Iran had been setting for Israel, the United States, and the West. To an extent, it seems that that is the case. And this is because as the HTS was taking over Syria, as Assad has been ousted and he has escaped Syria, Israel had been bombing Syria. As of now, it is said that Israel has bombed Syria over 800 times. There are many who will say at least 1,000 times. For Israel, Israel has also expanded its territory, okay? The territory that it has occupied of Syria, the Golan Heights, and Israel has even taken over the highest point, the mountain of Syria, Mount Hermon. Israel continues to expand the territories of Syria that it has occupied. However, the HTS hasn't done anything, to the point where many commentators or observers of international relations or on international relations had been scratching their heads. Prior to all this, many had been making an allegation and accusation that the HTS is supported or has been supported by Israel, the United States, the West, and even Turkey. And with Israel continue to occupy large territories of Syria and expanding these territories, and even occupying the highest mountain in Syria. Yes, Netanyahu had said that Israel's occupation is only for a time being. I do not believe that Israel is going to leave these territories. I think Israel is going to expand. And this is because the whole notion of a greater Israel still persists. Now, with Israel occupying Syria and continue to expand its territories, its occupation in Syria, I do believe in the long term it could backfire against Israel and it could become, as I've said many times, like a bone in the throat for Israel. Now, the situation in Syria continues to take another turn. Just recently, we saw a movement, okay, transportation movement in Syria. And I'm talking here about the first ever domestic flight in Syria from Damascus, Syria, the capital city of Syria, to Aleppo, another city. It is very interesting because Syria has been in a civil war since 2012, and the country has been going through a lot. Yes, Assad was toppled about a week or so, or more than a week now, but the transition is so quick, which again, it leads me to continue to scratch my head. You have a flight, okay, the first ever domestic flight in Syria since Assad was forced out of Syria, from Damascus to Aleppo. Now, as an international community, we should be very happy for Syria and welcome the change, if it is a genuine change. Of course, there are many in Syria who are voicing their happiness, their content with the current change in the country, and stating that they are going to rebuild their country. I hope that is the case. But as a Liberian, as an African, coming from a country that had also experienced crazy civil war, many, even prior to the civil war becoming hot in Liberia, were saying that they were going to rebuild the country. My suspicion is when your country get into a civil unrest, an unrest in which the West, especially the United States, is a prominent figure that is pulling the strings, I don't think you're going to build your country. I think your country is going to get destroyed, and it's going to be a hell of a problem for your country. This has been the problem for Iraq and Libya and every other country that has experienced civil war or wars in which the United States and the West has played a very significant role. But again, we have to welcome the change. But then the suspicion once again is the fact that you have a transition so quick and you can have a flight leaving from Damascus to Aleppo, Syria. So my question then is, does the HTS has an air force? Who was protecting the air that make it possible for the first ever domestic flight or the continuation of domestic flights in Syria from Damascus to Aleppo and elsewhere in the country? I think it is a very interesting but important question that we should ask in the world as an international community. Now, friends, please tell me what you think, and I hope to hear what you think. But I want to thank you a lot, friends, for being a member of the Echoing Voice community. But most especially, my friends, I want to thank you a lot for watching the Echoing Voice. Peace.